In the heart of the 20th century, the world was consumed by fire. Nations clashed, empires fell, and millions of lives were reshaped by the machinery of war. But from the ashes of conflict, some stories emerge that defy belief. Stories that become legend. This is not a story of a battle, but of a single, unyielding mind. This is the story of a soldier who fought a war the world had forgotten for 30 long years. His name was Hiroo Onoda. Born in 1922, he was a son of a Japan that valued honor, discipline, and ultimate sacrifice for the emperor. He was not a conscripted farmer, but a volunteer. A young man who walked the path of the warrior, selected for the Imperial Army's most elite training ground, the Nakano School. Here, he was not taught to merely follow orders. He was taught to think, to become a ghost, an intelligence officer, a master of guerrilla warfare. His mind was his primary weapon. And in 1944, as the tides of war turned against Japan, this weapon was sent to a small, seemingly insignificant island in the Philippines, Lubang. His orders, given by his commander, Major Yoshimi Taniguchi, were not complex, but they were absolute. They were words that would become the walls of his reality for the next 3 decades. You are absolutely forbidden to die by your own hand. It may take 3 years, it may take 5, but whatever happens, we will come back for you. Until then, so long as you have one soldier, you are to continue to lead him. You may have to live on coconuts. If that is the case, live on coconuts. Under no circumstances are you to give up your life voluntarily. These words were not just instructions. They were a sacred vow. A vow that would echo in the jungle long after the guns had fallen silent everywhere else.
The battle for Lubang was short and brutal. Allied forces swiftly overran the Japanese garrison. Soldiers were killed, captured, or scattered. Onoda, with 3 other men, Akatsu, Shimada, and Kazuka, did what his training demanded. They faded into the mountains. They became phantoms. And then, in August 1945, the world changed. A silence fell over the planet. The war was over. Japan had surrendered. And the world tried to tell them. Leaflets fluttered down from the sky like strange metallic leaves. The war ended on August 15th, they read. Come down from the mountains. In their hidden camp, the 4 soldiers examined this evidence. But through the lens of their training, it was transparent. A clumsy enemy trick, a ruse to lure them out. Their commander had said he would return. He had not. Therefore, the war must go on. And so they began their war, a war against an enemy that no longer existed. They lived on stolen rice, foraged bananas, and slaughtered cattle. Their uniforms frayed, became rags, were stitched back together with vine and thread. Their world shrunk to the borders of their island. Time became measured not in years, but in seasons of rain, in successful raids, in the slow, steady decay of their supplies. They were not waiting, they were fighting. And one by one, their war claimed its casualties. In 1950, Private Akatsu, perhaps worn down by hope or despair, walked away and surrendered. In 1954, Corporal Shimada was killed in a firefight with a search party. The war was real enough to claim his life. For Onoda and his last remaining comrade, Kinshichi Kozuka, the loss was a grim confirmation. The enemy was everywhere. The fight was all there was.
While Japan rebuilt itself into an economic miracle, while its cities reached for the sky, two men in the mountains of Lubang continued to live in 1945. Their war was a fossil, preserved in the amber of their own conviction. They saw satellites in the night sky and believed they were secret Japanese weapons. They found a new plastic tarp and marveled at this advanced American technology. Every piece of evidence from the outside world was filtered, analyzed, and dismissed by the unwavering intelligence of a trained soldier who knew only one truth: war. Then, in 1972, the final blow. While burning a stack of rice, Onoda and Kozuka were discovered by police. In the ensuing clash, Kinshichi Kozuka, the last comrade, was shot and killed. He was alone, the last soldier, the last ghost. The world now knew, without a doubt, that Lieutenant Hiroo Onoda was still at his post. The Japanese government sent missions. They dropped family letters, newspapers, photographs. He found them, he studied them, and he concluded it was the most sophisticated propaganda campaign he had ever seen. His loyalty had become his prison, his duty, his solitary confinement.
In 1974, a young adventurer named Norio Suzuki decided to find what everyone else had failed to. Not just Onoda the soldier, but Onoda the man. His quest was not official, it was personal. And against all odds, he succeeded. In the heart of the jungle, a young man in casual clothes met an aging soldier from a forgotten war. Suzuki did not command him. He did not try to convince him. He simply spoke to him. He treated him with respect. And he forged a fragile bond of trust. But Onoda's condition was absolute. He would lay down his rifle only when his commanding officer relieved him of duty. And so the past was summoned to free the present. The Japanese government located Major Yoshimi Taniguchi, Onoda's former commander. He put on his old uniform and he flew to Lubang. On March 9, 1974, in a clearing in the jungle, time finally caught up with Hiroo Onoda. A 52-year-old man who had given his youth and his sanity to a cause stood before the ghost of his commander. Major Taniguchi, his voice trembling with age and emotion, read the orders that had been 3 decades in the delivery. In accordance with the Imperial command, you are to cease all military activities and operations forthwith. The war was over. He walked out of the jungle a relic. His perfectly maintained rifle, his uniform, his sword, they were not costumes. They were the artifacts of the world he had never left.
The Japan he returned to was alien to him. It was a place of skyscrapers and consumerism, a society that had, in many ways, moved on from the values he had died for. He was a hero to some, a fanatic to others, a curiosity to all. He could not find his place in this new world, so he did what he had always done. He sought a new mission.
He moved to Brazil, raised cattle, built a new life on his own terms. He had spent 30 years learning how to survive in one world. He now had to learn how to live in another. And in his own way, he found peace. He started a family. He founded a school, teaching not warfare, but survival and resilience to a new generation. Hiroo Onoda passed away in 2014. He was, in the end, a man of profound contradiction, a symbol of incredible loyalty, and a cautionary tale about its price. A man who was both unbreakably strong and tragically lost. His story asks us the most difficult of questions. What is reality, if not what we believe to be true? What are we beyond the vows we make and the duties we assign ourselves? Hiroo Onoda was a soldier, and for 30 years after the peace treaties were signed and the monuments were built, in a quiet corner of a forgotten jungle, he proved it.